The morning sun rose over the wide fields, casting golden light across the old farmhouse. Sarah, a single mother, was already awake, her hands rough from years of work, her eyes heavy with memories no one in town truly knew. To her neighbors, she was just the hardworking farm mom, raising her teenage daughter, Emily, after her husband had passed away years ago. What they didn't know was that Sarah carried a past, one forged in silence, discipline, and unshakable focus. She was once a sniper in the army, a woman who had stared through the scope of a rifle more times than most people blink in a day. But now her battlefield was different, paying bills, harvesting crops, and protecting her daughter. Emily, at just 15, was a sweet girl, quiet, studious, and with dreams of going to college far away from the small town. But her gentle nature had made her an easy target. At school, a group of bullies, led by a girl named Madison, mocked her farm clothes, called her "poor girl," and pushed her books from her hands. Emily often hid her tears from her mother, not wanting to add to Sarah's burdens. Yet deep down, the pain was carving scars no one could see. One afternoon, things went too far. Emily stayed late after school to finish a project, and on her way to the bus stop, Madison and her friends cornered her behind the gym. They shoved her into the dirt, taunting her about her father's death, mocking her mother, and laughing as they kicked her backpack across the ground. Emily tried to hold back her tears, but one insult cut deeper than the rest. Madison sneered, "Your mom is just a nobody farm rat. She can't protect you." Emily froze, her chest tightening. She wanted to scream, to fight back, but fear locked her voice. That night, when she came home, Sarah noticed the dirt on her clothes, the redness in her eyes. She didn't ask right away, but after dinner, as Emily sat quietly at the table, Sarah finally said, "Who did this to you?" Emily broke down, tears spilling as she confessed everything. For a moment, Sarah's old self, the soldier within her, rose to the surface. She felt that familiar stillness she had felt in combat, when danger was close. But she didn't show anger. Instead, she reached across the table, holding Emily's trembling hands, and said, no one hurts my daughter and walks away with pride." The next day, Sarah didn't storm into the school with accusations. She knew bullies thrived when adults simply lectured them. She needed to teach them a lesson, not just for her daughter, but for every quiet child they had ever broken down. So, she waited. On Friday evening, there was a community fair in town. Emily didn't want to go, afraid she'd run into Madison, but Sarah encouraged her. "Hold your head high," she said. "You are stronger than they'll ever know." Emily agreed reluctantly. At the fair, Sarah noticed Madison and her group laughing loudly, pointing at Emily from across the booths. Emily shrank back, but Sarah put a hand on her shoulder. Then, in the middle of the fairgrounds, a loud popping sound echoed, balloon stands from a game booth bursting in the distance. Everyone jumped, but Sarah didn't flinch. Her body reacted instantly, her eyes narrowing as she scanned the noise. That soldier instinct was still alive in her. The bullies laughed, mocking Emily for flinching. Sarah calmly walked over, her presence tall and commanding. She didn't raise her voice, but when she spoke, every word cut sharp. "You think strength is about numbers, about hurting someone smaller. Let me tell you what strength really looks like." Madison smirked, rolling her eyes. "What would you know?" Sarah's gaze hardened. "I was an army sniper for 10 years. I've seen fear in the eyes of men who thought they were invincible. You remind me of them, loud, cocky, and weak when it really matters." The crowd around them grew silent. Even the parents nearby listened. Madison tried to laugh it off, but her voice cracked. Sarah leaned closer, her voice steady, almost whispering. "If you ever touch my daughter again, you'll remember this night for the rest of your life. And not because of fear, but because you'll know what real strength looks like when it stares you down. For the first time, Madison had no comeback. Her friends shuffled awkwardly, their confidence broken. Sarah didn't threaten violence, she didn't need to. Her presence alone, the discipline, the authority, was enough to silence them. Emily stood there, her eyes wide, not out of fear, but in awe. For the first time, she saw her mother not just as the woman who raised her, but as the warrior who would move mountains for her. From that night forward, the bullies left Emily alone. In fact, whispers spread around the school. No one dared cross her anymore. But more importantly, Emily carried herself differently. Her back straighter, her eyes stronger. She realized she didn't need to fight like her mother did in the past. She only needed to believe in her own worth, because her mother had already fought the hardest battles for her. Months later, Emily stood in front of her class to give a presentation. Madison sat silently in the back, unable to meet her eyes. Emily spoke with confidence, her voice steady, no longer the timid farm girl they once mocked. And in the crowd, Sarah watched with quiet pride, her heart swelling. Life on the farm was still hard. The bills didn't vanish, the long days didn't shorten. But something had changed forever. Emily was no longer afraid, and Sarah knew her daughter had inherited more than her smile or her resilience. She had inherited her strength. Because sometimes, the greatest warriors aren't the ones holding rifles in distant lands. Sometimes, they're the mothers in old farmhouses, standing tall for their children when the world tries to break them. And in the silence of her heart, Sarah knew as long as she lived, no one would ever hurt her daughter again.